Hello. So just a couple of recent purchases, buys, it's easier to say, that I got when out and about recently. First of all, we've got two books, but the one that's not a book, I have this Pokemon 3D puzzle. Now, my brother spotted this when I was out in a charity shop at my local cancer research. That was good because I didn't spot it. It's £3 and everything is inside and still sealed, so that means there's no danger of any bits of the puzzle missing, so that is good. Yeah, and I really like the idea of this because obviously it's Pokemon themed, you've got Pikachu there, but also because it's a functional jigsaw. Once you've made up the jigsaw, you can store your pens and pencils in it. So I really like that idea. The 3D puzzle series have done loads of different 3D puzzles, and yeah, I think 3D puzzles are a good idea. They literally add another dimension to your standard puzzle. So yeah, at some point I'm going to make that and also be able to use it. A nice little collectible stroke craft item. This was in Bernardo's, local Bernardo's. Now, I'm not too familiar with this manga. I'm vaguely aware of it. Don't really know much about its story, but it was only 50p, and it's issue 1, so I thought, well, that's a great jump in it on a spot to sort of get a little feel for it and see where the story goes, and if I like it, I can look out for more. I always like to try new mangas. Yeah. Watch it on visanime.com. Also, there is an anime version of it as well. Maybe it's the anime I'm more familiar with, I've heard about. And then last but not least, I got this for just 50p at this charity shop. So, Buy, Keep or Sell by Judith Miller. So this is a book all about collectibles where Judith Miller advises if you should buy something, if you should keep it, for example, until its value increases, or sell straight away because it already has a lot of value. If you don't know Judith Miller, she's been on Antiques Roadshow, which says tomorrow's Antiques. Actually, no, that's nothing to do with what she's been on. Don't worry. Yeah, she's on Antiques Roadshow, and she made numerous books about collectibles. She made a lot. I think she died a few years ago, but yeah, she had real knowledge of her collectibles. And this is a nice DK book, and DK books are always nice. Big pictures, usually big books, and very informative. I'm assuming that DK stands for Donkey Kong, and he's the one who wrote them, but I don't know that for sure. So yeah, it's got lovely pictures, interesting things that might help both for my personal collection, increasing my knowledge there, finding things I'm interested in, and also for reselling. So you can see I've put at the top, I have put a few markers of bits I've been reading in particular, but I am reading the whole thing. Paperweights I've heard a lot about, could be very collectible. I do have one actually to sell at some point. It's not worth a fortune, but it should get a few pounds. So I'll pay just 50p for it from a charity shop. Yes, you've got digital watches. Now this book was 2005, so obviously it's only going to contain things up to that point. So this stuff here that was regarded as vintage is now even more vintage. Might not necessarily be worth more, but sometimes the prices have increased. Obviously you can go online, and you can get much more up-to-date information, but I think these books are still good even if they're old, because the stuff they're covering is still going to be, most of it is going to be highly collectible. Sometimes things fall out of favour, or they just have a phase of being very collectible, if you're talking about in terms of, getting them to resell. But a lot of the time, this sort of stuff will stay collectible and just become even more collectible and even more sought after. Take, for example, they're talking about, the Harry Potter book. That's worth a lot, they're worth even more now than they would have been when this book come out, when this book came out. So, I mean, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, the Bloomsbury London edition, that one's going for 1,500, 2,000 if it's the 1998 version. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, actually, I think it still goes for around that, maybe a tiny bit more. So this is what I mean, even though those years passed, it can still be quite accurate. Valentine's Day cards, Guinness advertising. You've got some really interesting sections. And yeah, you can find this stuff out on the internet, and that is good to do. But you know, see, on the internet, you sort of have to search for things based on, you know, certain subjects now, whereas this book's already presenting certain subjects, so you can sort of find stuff out you might not otherwise find. That's the key thing I often find with a physical copy of a book as opposed to looking things online. So I'm looking forward to diving into that in more details. It's actually something I literally collect books about collecting. I think they're a nice thing to have. This was originally $16.99. Yeah, so that's all. Some nice little pickups there.